I got involved in this issue because I'm a youth worker. And as a youth worker, my role in life is to help protect young people. And I saw a lot of young people who were already very vulnerable being brutalized by these organizations. All of the victims that I've interviewed, with the exception of one or two who were actually attacked as a mistaken identity, are young people who are already very, very broken. Most of them have had very severe experiences in childhood. Almost all of them have substance abuse, mental health issues. A lot of them can be young people who've been coming through our care system, in and out of prison. So their lives have already kind of gone off the rails. But any young person in these areas can come foul of these organisations. So, for example, if you confront somebody who's in the organisation, if you have an argument with them or whatever, sometimes that's enough for them to carry out one of these attacks, because, you know, in the end, the attacks are really about coercive control. You know, they're sold to the community as a form of justice. But actually, they're the key mechanism for these organisations to control and keep an atmosphere of fear in the communities and actually in wider society. One young man that I got to know quite well, when he told me his story, he told me that his mother had actually gone to the organisation because he was threatened with what's called a six-pack. So he's going to get shot in 6 joints. And she went to the organisation and pleaded with them to be more lenient. So the mother was told that he would receive 2 shots. So he turned up for the appointment. He was actually quite relieved that the kind of sentence, if you like, had been reduced. So he turned up for the appointment, and the guy who was doing the shootings told him that he could either have 4 shots with a lower caliber gun or 2 shots with a high caliber gun. And I'm not even sure that he understood the consequences of that, but he thought 2 shots has got to be better than 4. So he received 2 shots from a high velocity pistol. And what happened was they blew his legs apart. And the surgeons actually had to open up the entire inside of both of his legs to stop the bleeding. He was very lucky to survive. When you sit in front of a young person and you hear, you know, what that felt like and what it's done to them in terms of their life going forward, it's absolutely heartbreaking. There is no need for this. Nothing justifies it. It doesn't solve anything. I think often the parents suffer twice. You know, they suffer having to see their child go through this very violent trauma, but then they also suffer stigma in the community because people just assume that the young person or the victim of the attack has done something horrendous. There is a collective responsibility for this in Northern Ireland. We've had 2 generations of this now, and there is a sense in which there's a societal shrug every time one of these attacks happens. In fact, it's been very difficult to get the media to cover it and to keep it in the media because a lot of journalists just think it's not a story. It's been going on for 50 years. But every time this happens, a human being has been grossly brutalised. Their human rights have been abused. And there's an enormous cost to us as a society for that happening. People will often say they didn't get it for nothing. And my challenge to anybody who thinks that is think that through. You know, what could anyone do that justifies this kind of brutality? We're often talking about children and young people here. You know, we have a criminal justice system, we have the police, we have the courts, we have all sorts of ways of supporting vulnerable young people. There are many, many alternatives to this. And if we are accepting this as a form of justice in our society, then we're going backwards. And, you know, we are a society really that needs to move forward and move beyond this.